Esther was a kind girl. She had a gentle spirit that touched everyone she met. She had a big heart full of love. Her kindness was like a warm blanket that comforted those around her. Esther was also very brave. She had a courage that shone brightly, even in the darkest times. She wasn't afraid to stand up for what was right. No matter the challenge, Esther faced it head-on with unwavering determination. One day, Esther became a queen. It was a moment of great joy and celebration. She was the queen of a great land. Her kingdom was vast and filled with many people who admired her. Esther loved her people very much. She spent her days ensuring their well-being and happiness. She wanted to keep them safe and happy. Her heart was always with her people, and she worked tirelessly to protect them. But there was a problem. Dark clouds began to gather over her peaceful kingdom. A bad man wanted to hurt Esther's people. His heart was filled with malice and envy. He didn't like them because they were different. His hatred was unfounded, but it burned fiercely. He made a plan to scare them away. His schemes were devious, and he sought to bring fear and chaos to the land. But Esther was not one to back down. She knew she had to act swiftly to protect her people. She gathered her advisors and devised a plan to counter the threat. Her wisdom and bravery shone through as she prepared to face the challenge. With her people by her side, Esther stood tall against the villain. Her courage inspired everyone, and together they faced the danger head-on. In the end, Esther's bravery and love for her people triumphed. The villain was defeated and peace returned to the land. Esther's story became a legend, a tale of kindness, courage, and unwavering love. She remained a beloved queen, cherished by all. The bad man's name was Haman. He was a grumpy man who didn't like anyone. Haman was known throughout the kingdom for his sour demeanor and his disdain for those who were different from him. One day, Haman went to the king with a sinister plan. "The people of Esther are different," he whispered with a sly grin. "They are not like us," he continued, his voice dripping with contempt. "They will not obey you," he declared, trying to sow seeds of doubt in the king's mind. The king, unaware that his beloved Queen Esther was one of these people, listened intently. Sadly, he believed Haman's lies and deceitful words. He made a law to send Esther's people away, causing great distress and fear among them. The decree was harsh and unforgiving. They didn't know what to do. Panic spread like wildfire as they tried to comprehend the sudden turn of events. They were sad that their king would listen to such a grumpy man. The people mourned, feeling betrayed by the very ruler they had trusted. They gathered in small groups, whispering and wondering how they could change the king's mind. The fear of the unknown loomed over them, and the future seemed bleak. But, amidst the sorrow, a glimmer of hope began to form. They knew they had to find a way to reveal the truth to the king and save their people from this unjust fate. When Esther heard the news, she was very sad. The weight of the situation pressed heavily on her heart. She felt a deep sorrow for her people who were facing a grave threat. "I have to help my people," she thought. Her mind raced with the possibilities and the risks involved. She knew that her position as queen gave her a unique opportunity to make a difference. But Esther knew it was dangerous to talk to the king about this. The laws of the land were strict, and approaching the king without being summoned could result in severe punishment. If she spoke up, the king might be angry. His wrath was well known, and Esther feared the consequences of his displeasure. The king's anger could lead to dire outcomes not just for her, but for her entire people. He might even send her away too. But Esther was brave. She knew that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Her resolve grew stronger as she thought about the lives at stake. She knew she had to do the right thing. The fate of her people depended on her actions. Esther's heart pounded as she made her decision, knowing that her bravery could change the course of history. Esther decided to talk to the king. She took a deep breath, gathering all her courage. The path ahead was fraught with danger, but she was determined to face it head-on. She would tell him the truth. Honesty was her only weapon, and she hoped it would be enough to sway the king's heart. She knew that revealing her true identity was a risk, but it was a risk she had to take. She would tell him that she was one of the people he wanted to send away. Esther's voice trembled as she spoke, but her eyes remained steadfast. She was ready to face whatever came next for the sake of her people. Section 4. A daring plan. Esther got dressed in her most beautiful clothes. She wanted to look brave and strong. Slowly, she walked to the king's throne room. Her heart beat fast. She took a deep breath and walked inside. The king was surprised to see Esther. "My queen," he said, "what is it?" You can have anything you want. Section 5. A Queen's Bravery. Esther took another deep breath. "My king," she said, "I am one of the people you are sending away." The king was shocked, he had no idea. Esther continued, "These are good people, please don't send them away." The king listened to Esther. He realized he had made a mistake. He hugged Esther and said, "You are safe, my dear. And so are your people." He quickly changed the law. Esther's people were safe. Section 6. Always be kind and brave. Esther was a true hero. She was kind and brave. She stood up for what was right, even when it was scary. Esther's story teaches us to be kind to everyone. It also teaches us to be brave and stand up for what we believe in. Just like Esther, we can make a difference in the world.